Visiting with Michelle Greene and Joanna Tilley, and they've been here for almost a month. Thursday, 2 days from now, they'll be headed back to the States. And so I just wanted to, this is of course November the 12th, 2013, and I wanted just to give them a chance to share what their experience is like. And since Joanna's redheaded, she'll go first. That's arbitrary, of course.
I've had an excellent experience here at the clinic at Baxter Institute and also at one of the public hospitals in this town, Hospital San Felipe. It's been a very different experience because of than we would normally get in our medical rotations in the United States, partially because of the patient population and just different diseases, different pathologies that we are able to see here that you don't get to see very often in the United States. Also the fact that all of our patient interactions have been in Spanish has been a really different experience, and it's been an excellent learning experience in terms of working on another language and learning how to communicate in different ways. And I've also, we spent 3 nights at the hospital, at Hospital San Felipe, 3 12-hour night shifts, and we're able to see so many different things there.
Michelle, why don't you just share a little bit, just kind of build on what Joanna's shared.
Yeah, well, like she said, it was very different than what we would have had in the States. Like, we've had very different population of people to work with, and we really didn't know anything going into this rotation, like knowing what we would be doing. But I think the thing that struck me when we first got here was there are not many resources in Honduras, not nearly as much as the United States. So things like gloves or things like syringes, like things that you would normally need, you have to kind of find a way around those or find a way to treat people or listen to people and work around what they have here. I think the patients are incredibly different here too. Like, they're much more meek. I think a couple of times the lady told me that I was the doctor second only to God, which is it was slightly terrifying. But they'll hand you like a pad of prescriptions and tell you, your signature is valid here. You can, do whatever you need to do to these patients. So we get a lot of freedom here, and the patients will have a lot of respect. They'll let you do pretty much anything. And then the hospital is also very different, very, very different than the United States. And we learned a whole lot about babies, about delivering babies and complications and all that kind of thing. It was very good.
Very specifically, you're on a campus here with students, ministry students. And what has been the interaction with the student body here?
We've had a very positive experience with the student body here. Everyone has been incredibly friendly and welcoming. They invited us to sit with them at lunchtime and invited us to go to dinner. Went to a movie one time with a group of students, and they've been an excellent resource for telling us about Honduras and about their own countries. So we've had a very multicultural experience in terms of learning about several countries from Latin America and how things are similar in their countries to Honduras and how they're different. And they've also been a great resource for practicing Spanish and teaching us all about this area. So we've had a very good experience here.
There are 13 different countries represented in the student body, and Joanna mentioned about learning Spanish. You had a specific occasion to study with a teacher, a local teacher here in Tegucigalpa, who came to the campus. Tell us a little bit about that, Michelle.
Yeah, we had a woman named Blanca Sevilla that came 3 or 4 times to see us. She would work with us for an hour and a half, 2 hours, just mostly for grammar, just to get down the basics of, what to say, what not to say, how to form sentences so where people can understand you and not just stare at you. So it was a good refresher. And she worked really well with me and Joanna because we had very different levels of Spanish. So I've had lots of years of formal classes, and Joanna had one class in one book. So she was very, very good at tailoring it to different levels of Spanish. So I highly recommend her if that's something that students would want to work on when they come here.
Not really a part of the program, but something if students coming down want to do, we can arrange for Blanca to study with those students. You had a kind of a getaway rainforest experience. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, we've had excellent times on our weekends off here. 2 Saturdays ago, we were able to go hiking 4 hours through La Tigra National Park, which is a cloud rainforest about 45 minutes outside Tegucigalpa. It's an amazing drive just to get there because it's straight up a mountain. And then the actual rainforest was quite an experience. I've never hiked through a rainforest before, and the waterfalls, the trees, just the vegetation, the birds, everything was a fantastic experience, very different. And so anyone who likes to hike, it's something you really need to do when you're here.
It's definitely a rainforest. And I think at one point I looked at Joanna, like you're walking through, and I told her, like, I know this is a rainforest, but why is everything so wet? Like I can't touch anything without getting wet. And we got rained on a little bit. So that's something to be aware of if you go.
Yeah.
But it was very fun.
Beautiful.
And you had an interaction outside of the school environment, and we got out in the community some. Tell us a little bit about some of those kind of trips out on Sundays, that kind of thing.
We went to Tolonga, which is about an hour and a half away from Tegucigalpa. It's a very rural city, like no paved roads or anything, very, I think, poor community. We went to a church there, and I think for me, it was really interesting to see the passion of people for Christ and for building churches. Because if you went to this building, there's no air conditioning, but you don't really need air conditioning in Honduras, but there's no air conditioning, there's no live band, there's, windows, there's like rain that sounds outside, and people still came and they would sing their hearts out and, listen very attentively to the Word of God, and it was just, it's incredibly inspiring to see that kind of attention, like in people here, and that kind of passion to go start other churches. And then compared to the United States, like the worship experience there, that was, I think, one of the most valuable things that we got to do here.
No frills.
No, definitely not. Very, very simple.
Very, very simple. We see. What other things would you like to share? I mean, there's just a world of things that you might want to share as far as how this will affect you when you go back.
Oh my gosh, anytime you go to another country besides the U.S., like where the standard of living might not be as high, like I think, learn a great appreciation for everything that we have. And I think I've come back with a desire more to come back to places like this and share more with what I've learned with helping out with people, whatever they need here. I think that's one good thing I've taken out of this.
I feel that I've learned a lot about just ingenuity and definitely this was helped to build some confidence, because I think before we came here, it's very easy in the United States during third-year rotations to kind of hide behind your preceptor, and you're really just watching. You're not allowed to do all that much in the beginning, and so to be, have to really learn the material well and have some confidence in your diagnoses and be willing to write a prescription for someone has been very confidence building, and definitely learn to rely on ourselves and on each other. We can run up to each other and ask questions, and while being in a safe environment where we had a preceptor willing to help us with difficult cases was very helpful.
And learning to overcome cultural barriers and figuring out how to speak Spanish and describe very awkward problems, in another language, is being culturally sensitive to that. It was an interesting experience.
And also wanting to do more of these, like she said, to spend more of my life in medical mission settings. This was a very useful experience.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Well, we welcome you back. Diana and I do. And glad that you came. Glad that we had this friendship building kind of experience. And God bless.